All right, we're back on Hard Factor Radio. We're the Hard Factor boys. For those that are just tuning in, check out our daily podcast. It's a news podcast, got a little bit of politics too, but it's a news podcast that comes out every day, Monday through Friday, very early in the morning, before even Large wakes up, who's joining us with Za, because we're about to have our third Barstool debate. Hey, how you guys doing?
Feel great. Yeah, it's I'm happy you guys asked us to be on board. I always love to have a good debate with somebody like Za, who's sneakily the smartest guy in the firm. Especially when it comes to world capitals and shit, which I know is a small little chunk of life. But Za's easily the most interesting and sneakily one of the most intelligent guys in the room. Yeah. You're not? You're fucking.
There you go. I mean, he's buttering you up. He's buttering you up. Don't go easy
that's
on
the
him.
thing. Then when I put off a terrible performance, it's like the most embarrassing thing on the planet. He's setting me up right here.
It could be a tactic right now.
This is tactics. This is gamesmanship. Yeah.
He does this all the time.
Genius.
All the time. But by the way, I don't like how this was all the show notes that you guys were given by Pat when this whole thing was set up. I don't like that. So these guys, I don't know, pre-show were talking a bit about this.
Oh, well, you were late. That was because you were late, though. You missed the email. So.
Yeah, I was a little bit late. I'm sorry about that. Sorry to be all Hollywood on you guys. But apparently, Pat, they asked Pat about things about me, and Pat mentioned two things. Like, all I'm about is weed and soccer. So that much.
It's the first two things that came to mind. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
whoops.
Oh,
I
you're
just
fine.
ruined it.
Barstool Pat,
No.
You're obviously back with us. You were on the news segment earlier. It's your second day with us on the show. Do you have any thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's going to be much better than you think. I think both of them
I
think both of them are very passionate about their subjects here, and I think I already have an idea of what angle Large is going to use. So I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible. But this is going to be good. I was thinking the only other guy we could have got on here who would have been good to debate against these guys would have been, Stu Feiner or someone to bring in, but I'm excited about it.
Round one, we'll get right into it. You have 2 minutes each to kind of talk on your points here, and then after 2 minutes, it'll go to the next guy for 2 minutes, then you'll have a 1 minute rebuttal. That's how round one and round two will work. Round three, we're going to throw you a curveball. You only have a minute to talk about it. So round one, we flipped a coin, and Za won, and we're going first with round one, and it's soccer versus boxing. Which is the superior sport and why?
All righty, soccer versus boxing. I think everybody knows my answer right there. Soccer is not only superior to boxing; it's superior to everything. It's the greatest sport on the planet. Hence the name, the beautiful game. As compared to directly to boxing, I mean, I feel like soccer should be more appealing to boxing because there's more things to cheer about in soccer. I mean, how many times can you cheer for a guy just getting his fucking brains knocked in left and right from haymakers? Whereas in soccer, you have the opportunity. Cristiano Ronaldo might do a little flick and a rainbow kick over the top of his head type of deal. He might step over left and right, leave someone's ACL all the way in fucking who knows in Florida while the person is in LA type of deal. That stuff is fascinating, and there's nothing funnier than seeing a grown-ass man on his ass been put there by another grown-ass man. So that I think is my argument on the excitement levels of soccer.
One question about that though.
What were you
You're talking about
yes.
with the juke. You're saying no touching, putting another man on his ass, right? Is that what?
Yeah, no touching. There we go. No touching another man on the floor without even touching it. Whereas in boxing, you gotta fucking knock his brains out.
Talking about
jukes.
Talking about some jukes and nutmegs.
Jukes and nutmegs.
Little pantsings. All right.
Not to mention that it's free flowing. Who knows? I mean, you can go all 12 minutes without someone being touched. All 12 rounds, 1 minute rounds without someone being touched.
I thought you were talking about another man on the ground complaining about being fake injured for a second. But
here we go.
I guess that's the perfect segue for Large.
Wait, aren't you meant to be moderator?
I am the moderator.
Aren't you meant to be moderator right here?
I'm also
already fixed.
I'm also a lifelong soccer player, and I've never boxed. So, all right, Large, you're up.
Za, I take back everything I said at the top of the show. You're officially the best player on my team. You said you like a sport where a guy winds up on his back, and you pick soccer as it. Every time a guy winds up on his back, soccer, he's pretending to be injured. If this was what's better, women's boxing or women's soccer, you would win in a fucking landslide. But between the jukes, the nutmegs, all that kind of bullshit, I have zero tolerance for a sport that doesn't even know what it's called between soccer and football. The only difference I have with what I call boxing versus pugilism is because it's sometimes called the sport of kings. What else is called the sport of kings? Plenty of things. Horse racing, sometimes tennis. You know what it's not? Fucking soccer. If you want one-on-one, there is nothing more terrifying. I boxed in college, as everyone knows. 7-5, boxed my way right into the middle as a heavyweight at 218. I'm now about 290. If you want to step into,
did you ever reach disadvantage? Probably not, right?
no, I used to have. That's the only thing I had. I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I looked like we used to wear like these oversized gloves, and my hair used to come out of the headgear. I don't want to get off track. I used to Vaseline the outside of the headgear. I'd spit my mouthpiece a couple of times around.
Vaseline and reach.
You were a dirty
Two
boxer.
strings,
I don't
yeah.
believe it.
So I'm just saying that from a perspective of somebody who enjoys actual sport, enjoys not sitting at Wembley like I did, drinking Bovril for a 0-0 tie in the rain at my last fucking Arsenal game. For a guy who actually likes to see some action and to see some points taken, then boxing wins this one in a fucking landslide.
Oh, 0-0 in the rain's tough. All right.
I'd bite my tongue so bad there.
Zah, you got 1 minute if you want to refute any
And
of that.
Zah, you got in this closing argument, I'd like to hear about the action debate, because also as a skeptic of soccer, there's what's up with no goals.
You guys broke up. You broke up a little bit there. I don't know if it's my internet. That's
we're good. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, you're back.
You got 1 minute. Will wants to talk about the action.
The action aspect at large.
Or lack of there.
The lack.
Well, he wants to hear.
Educate us, please.
Yeah.
All right. So no. I mean, what is this lack of their action? There's nonstop action for 90 minutes. You can't if you go away. You can, if you go away for like a second, a goal can be scored. As I said, someone can end up on their ass, become a viral meme that will live in fucking internet history, and you miss that moment. Whereas in a thing like boxing, it's kind of more predictable kind of thing. You know, the sweet science, you can kind of figure it out. In soccer, you never know when that's coming, because a goalkeeper can nutmeg a defender, and that could become all crazy and all that.
So you're saying like an accidental goal could happen at any time?
No, there's more things to look out for. Well, I'm saying
no one's ever knocked themselves out.
And someone getting it's kind of hard trying to argue against another sport that you also like too. So
that's true. All right,
but I do like soccer better though.
All right, Large, you have 1 minute.
ESPN had put out a chart of the top athletes in the
Here's
world.
The chart.
We
back on the
spent
chart.
probably about 2 hours on Barstool Breakfast with it, because Willie had said that NASCAR drivers are not athletes.
And
I took umbrage with it, and so we wound up changing his mind. Willie says now that NASCAR drivers are athletes, and when you look down this thing, the drivers come in somewhere, I think, in the low 30s. And dead last, the top 60 is fishing. Right above fishing is billiards. You know what's number 1 on that list? Boxers. You know what's number 10 on that list? Soccer players. And I am doing something I very rarely do, and Patty's expecting it, is I'm playing the race card. There is no racism in boxing. It doesn't exist. Have you ever been to a European league when a black player is taking a corner kick and they throw bananas and they spit at him? And they
God damn it, Large. You're training me on my own goddamn sport, Large.
Your minute's quickly running out, Large. You're coming out.
I can say that's one of the most despicable things I've seen in humankind, much less sports.
The Italians.
Those goddamn Italians.
Agrees.
The Italians.
So a vote for soccer is a vote for systemic racism.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I've heard enough.
He's turned me on my own sport.
That's the end to round 1. I will say this, as a fan of soccer myself, there's a couple misses I think you had. You didn't mention the World Cup at all, which is an awesome event. And then you didn't to go against like the systematic racism. I believe soccer is the only sport that's had like ceasefires and wars and civil wars and things like that. The game of soccer has caused wars to end for
there we go, the beautiful
matches
game.
and things like that. So
actually,
you didn't say those things, so the other judges didn't hear those.
So you know why I actually didn't say the World Cup. I actually hate the World Cup. That's why I didn't bring it up. But I should have remembered that. All right, so it's not about what you like about soccer or what you hate about soccer.
The World Cup would have been a strong thing to showcase. Yeah,
round 2. So since Zah went first round 1, Large will go first round 2. This is which you can only have one of these for the rest of your life: weed or booze, weed or alcohol. Larger up.
There's very few things that I'm afraid to do. One of them is break the law. marijuana is illegal in my state.
Except in a boxing match.
Wow. Okay. Yep.
Right? So I'm just saying,
going.
a vote for marijuana is a vote for lawlessness. No, I've never been a weed smoker. By the way, Zah, did you figure out that it's booze and boxing and weed and soccer? They're just making our perfect fucking weekends for either of us.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's something that we feel strongly about.
That's
So
my weekend right there.
I'm not a weed guy. I know there are a lot of guys on this show, on this panel specifically are. So I feel like I don't have a big shot with this. But one of the things is I can't handle my smoke. I can always handle my booze. And if I find a booze that I can handle, something that's strong like whiskey or something like that, that I maybe not be able to put down, there's always something smoother on the horizon. It's something that I don't mind doing in front of my kids, because I do have a couple of kids and they are one of those impressionable ages, and it's not legal here. It's not legal, so I can't do it recreationally.
Any advice on smoking weed in front of your kids if you have
This is going to
kids
be an
on the
issue
way?
for Will. Will's expecting.
So, and it's something that I can do. I know that this isn't a huge argument for people who smoke weed, but I think that it's something that is better at parties. I find that weed, whenever the experience that I've had with it has been in like smaller groups or by myself, just kind of relaxing. If I'm out at a party, I think kind of having a beer in my hand for 4, 5, 6 hours always works out better for me than smoking a little bit of pot and wondering why everyone is staring at me. So it's just something that plays better with my head personally. I can't handle my smoke. I have seasonal allergies. It's not legal in my state. It's alcohol the whole way.
Wow.
All right.
Well
There
put
you go.
together argument. Okay.
Za, 2 minutes.
Ooh, all right. So weed. Actually having retired from the alcohol game myself for a weekend or two so far.
There's the key. There's the caveat for a weekend.
Congratulations.
For
Yeah,
a
I tried.
weekend.
I did a dry
Thank you.
June. It lasted 13 days.
Thank you.
June
I'm
14th.
I'm on 6 days so far. Let's
Good luck.
see how
Nice.
long we'll last. Thank you. I have seen phenomenal benefits from marijuana in my life. I mean, look at this. I used to wear glasses. All of a sudden, I got rid of them. I used to be able to blind. I used to be blind, and now I can see, right?
Wait, are we saying it cures blindness?
That's what I heard.
his eyesight,
That is
so-
a huge
Wow,
plus. That's a
used
plus
to be.
for weed.
I don't know what we're going to do there.
I used to be stressed out, and now I spend my whole day watching a guy detail cars. I used to be stressed out, and now I spend the other half of my day watching a guy walk around London. So pretty much not only does weed cure your stress, it cures your eyes. And then look at this grin. My cheeks are so sore from smiling. I'm just the happiest I've ever been, and all that happens with alcohol. Yes, I'm happy for 2 hours, but I'm like angry for the next 5 days type of deal. And trust me, if you want to come to the happy side where you don't have to deal with headaches and all that, and what did I say to this person? Because I am when I drink, I do drink. So you have to flip over to the weed side, and that's weed. You don't have to no anxiety worrying about what you said and all that. All you do is sleep, wake up, eat whatever's in the fridge, and go sleep again.
It's true.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
1 minute for Large here to rebut, unless you guys want to jump in. Pat or Will, are you good?
Is Zah gonna have another chance to talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
1 minute left. For each of them.
no, because I would be helping his argument, so I'm not
Yes,
gonna
you
talk.
would.
Okay.
You would. Be.
It's my job to be unbiased. I'm gonna hope you
Okay.
figure out.
We can do what we did at the end of round 1 and tell him all the things he missed about soccer. If you want to.
Yeah. We'll
God damn it! I hate being on the spot. My brain goes like a million different directions, and I always miss the obvious big point. I always miss it every single time.
cured blindness was pretty good.
Well, yeah, you nailed it with your blindness. All right, Large.
Fake news media.
Yeah, so I don't know what I can say about Zah's claims that marijuana cures blindness, but I'm not going to come back and say somehow that, alcohol cures COVID, although it's made it a little bit more palatable for me. I think one of the big things one of the reasons Zah is doing so poorly in this debate is because he smoked beforehand. I think, and that's one of the things, like when I'm a functioning alcoholic, I'm always at the top of my game. I get actually a little bit more charming. Zah, who I said is one of the most interesting guys I know, he's kind of at half speed because he's a little bit weeded out. He's a little bit on the weed, as they say.
I'll slow you down, huh? Yeah.
One of the things that I don't mean to be the best player on your team, but he hinted at the hangover thing. which I think is a huge argument on behalf of Team Weed. I think once you get better at drinking alcohol and you learn to mix in waters every now and again, like I have, and it took me a while to do it, just like it takes you a while to learn how to handle your smoke. I feel 10 times better after a session of drinking than I do after a session of smoking. I am foggy and I can't get out of it. It's a NyQuil of drugs for me. So I think even on the best days on weed, it's probably a mediocre day for me on alcohol. That's my
Excellent. All right, Zah, 1 minute.
Good argument.
Sugar and spice. So I've been trying to think of this main point that you guys hinted at, and I just still cannot hit that.
He just talked about it.
But
cures
AIDS.
Yeah, no,
it cures AIDS.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Linus, say the Linus thing.
Losing
Come
points
on,
every
Zah.
second.
Come on, Zah.
Oh,
What's the worst part about drinking? What's the worst part about
Hangover, Zah.
drinking?
The hangover.
Yes, the hangover.
Wait, I thought I mentioned it.
You did.
I mentioned it in my original argument. Sorry.
I underlined it.
Go bigger.
But you're still in a good mood, though. So, I mean,
there we go.
even if you're
but Large was in fact correct about the about the effect. I mean, he nailed
the
it.
old short-term memory. Yeah, okay.
He nailed it with me, but I mean, I though. I mean, the hangover thing just does it for me, honestly. That's
right.
The final remark. That's what now I'm debating, because this mixing in a water, I'm like a 0 to 100 guy. So for like a happy-go-lucky guy, this mixing in water thing, it seems like a pain in the ass. So the hangover thing becomes a what's it called? A crutch. So if you're indisciplined, which 99.999% of this world are just like me, are indisciplined, because we'd all be rich as fuck if we were, kind of deal. You know what I mean? You just come to the weed side, man. You don't have to deal with these hangovers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, about the same price. Yeah, Large and equally tall Bill Murray are the only guys that can successfully mix in waters, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Large had to work on that. He pointed that out. Like he's honed his craft, and now he's a professional.
You don't need to work in anything with weed, but look. All right, so this one will give you like a minute-ish. Just go ahead and give your thoughts on this. Round 3 is, what is your favorite day of the week? And it's back to Zah. What's your favorite day of the week, Zah?
Monday. Tough one. That is a tough one. So the easiest one. I was gonna say Saturday, because that's when usually Arsenal plays. But with the way that they've been playing since fucking Kroenke bought them in 2005, Saturday's become a nightmare for me. So that's out the window. I'll have to go with Thursday. For some reason Thursday gives off that whole "you're almost there" to the weekend thing, and that's when I'm jacked up. That's when, like,
there you go.
Professionally in the radio studio, that's when I like think of fantastic songs to play on radio and all that, and the brain is firing. I come up with my best ideas. I do my best work on Thursday. You guys missed it by a day, unfortunately. So Thursday.
Damn it.
Thursday.
Well,
Thursday is my big high.
This is pre-recorded, so it'll come out on Thursday.
You guys caught me on my
which is going to make you look bad.
Oh, right.
Guess what, Mark? You guys caught me on my favorite day. Yo, you caught me on my favorite day.
We're so lucky.
Thursday is the best, fellas. Thursday, we're almost there. We'll get into the weekend. We're gonna be gassing Nooners this weekend and all that, man. No, Thursday is the best day.
Fuck yeah! All right, Large.
When you get older, you realize that you really shouldn't be buying any green bananas. Like, I realize what my mortality is. That I don't take for granted that there's a tomorrow. So Thursday is for people who are dreamers. I need the reality. So mine is Saturday. It's the most old school thing in the world. I wake up on a Saturday and the first thing I think of is, what day is it today? And you know what day it is? It's Saturday. I got nothing to fucking do. In the middle of Saturday, I feel like, what do I have to do? No, I don't. It's Saturday. At the end of Saturday, holy shit, do I need to get to bed? Do I have anything tomorrow? No, I just blow off mess. It's one of those things where it's an immediate thing for me. The worst thing about Saturday is that it's only 24 hours long. There's no argument against Saturday being the best day of the week. I understand that, outside of Saturday, you could do something like pick Thursday in a weed induced haze, but 100% of the time, Saturday is the best day of the week. I can't imagine if somebody said, Zah, pull away one day from this week that you can no longer celebrate, and you were to say it's Thursday, you'd be out of your fucking mind.
I've got
if
to follow
took
up
Saturday away from you, you'd be out of here.
I'm pretty sure the minute's close up. I've also got a follow-up point on that. Pretty sure Saturday's like our only day off, all of us. So
Yeah, I believe it's for the boys.
Yep. Yep.
I don't want to tell the company line.
Pat slipped that in earlier. I caught it.
So yeah, I'm not going to change. Final answer is Saturday.
Okay, all right. Well, that concludes the debate. Great job, guys. Now we have some judging to do. So because we found out the hard way, we tried to judge it with I think 2 people the first time, and it ended up in like a tie because you need an odd amount of judges. So we're really dumb there, but now we figured it out. We got 3 judges. So Pat, I'm going to kick it to you first. First round, what did you see going on there?
Round 1. I thought going into it, it was going to be more even. I thought soccer being the most popular sport in the world was going to be a pretty easy argument to make. I think Large did have a good point when he said that if you support soccer, you support racism, which systemic racism, which Zach could have easily countered by saying, let's not judge the masses by the action of the few. And that would have been a great.
Wait, I said that, didn't I?
He texted me that. He did text me.
That's when my internet went out. I said that.
Are we sure that boxing's not racist? What are we basing that off? A Rocky IV's ending?
As far as bringing it back to the racism thing, I feel like we can't get away out of the racism. Large said there is no racism in boxing. I do want to bring up Mick Conlon at the Olympics. There was some sort of racism, or was that bias where he flipped off the judges against the Russian?
There's a lot of dirty boxers.
Okay, so that could have been.
That's all money thing. Yeah, it has nothing to do
Seems
with
like boxing
there's no racism. It's just nationalism.
No, boxing is an extremely
fact.
racist sport, isn't it? Like,
That's what I thought.
there's lots of
never.
never.
You got the wrong one.
Oh,
And then again, we had Za could have done
That's
the
curling. Curling is
enthusiasm.
boxing's fine.
Boxing's not the sport where like a bunch of guys just root for the other guy.
We got to go with what they said. If we don't have facts in front of us, we got to go with what he said. So.
Okay.
I mean, he could have went with the enthusiasm for the fans and the popularity of the sport. It's safety. He could have brought up how a few people have died in the ring recently. Any of that stuff. So, I was rooting for cousin producer here, but I got to give this first round to Large.
Damn it. Will.
I mean, I was battling conditions.
Conditions. I like that.
I do. I understand that, Za. Also, I'm going to go with Large. I thought, the racism thing didn't sway me. It was an impressive debate tactic to like try to pressure everybody into it with the systemic racism.
He white guilted me.
Yeah,
I love that.
That was an impressive tactic. But what really got me was the real hits versus the jukes. Like the on your ass one, Za, you went with the putting people on their ass is fun to see. I mean, that's like the whole point of boxing. So at Large.
All right. Well, it's a moot point, but I take notes, but I don't know why, because I always go with my bias, and I would have given it to Za because I like soccer. But it doesn't matter. Large wins round 1. That might come into play later, though. Round 2, we'll have Will go first. Who won you only have one weed or alcohol, and why?
Well, I thought that Za's argument was severely diminished by the fact that he was afflicted by short-term memory loss while trying to explain.
Yep.
But yeah, doesn't that prove his love? But doesn't that prove he's not full of shit? Yeah.
Well, hold on.
I'm bombed.
Yeah. But then
I'm bombed.
But then I really couldn't get over the fact that it cured his blindness as well. So
that's incredible.
Really is. I mean, it's a miracle drug. It's curing Za's blindness. He's smiling ear to ear. I've never seen a happier guy on the Zoom chat.
Well, you've never looked prettier. I love that mustache that you got going with that shirt. Big gas on the shirt. Nice. I see it clearly, man.
More smarts. Also, Large with like the law and order argument. Come on. A little tone deaf right now.
Does the law and order. That's true.
What are you gonna tear gas us out of the Zoom chat and drink a whiskey? Like
this is the guy who just did 2 hours on how he's going to smuggle fireworks into the state of New Jersey, and he's doing that.
That had some holes in it. I agree.
With this one, although Large made a compelling argument, I'm going with Za.
All right, Pat. All right, let me go because I'm going to go with Large, so it's going to be all on you because I go with my bias. Yes. I like alcohol more. I like alcohol more than I like weed. I like them both a lot, but lifelong alcohol guy, and I do gaps with the weed. Alcohol for me always. So 1-1, up to Pat here to decide the round.
All right, Pat.
Yeah. If we're going
before you go on, Pat, Will, what do you choose in that fight? What are you? Are you alcohol or weed? If you had to choose,
I didn't want to have you turn this on me.
That's Sophie's choice.
Yeah, because I really don't know.
Sophie's choice indeed. It's two babies there.
Yeah, that's tough.
Boozes.
Sorry, go ahead, Patty. I apologize.
Okay, so again, taking my bias out of it, I'm a booze guy. I'm not a weed guy. All Za had to do to win this was focus on the hangover. That's it. Everyone can relate to a hangover. Have you ever had a terrible hangover with drinking? Yup. Have you had one with weed? Nope. All you had to do is that. All you had to do is negative health.
It sounds like this debate's over.
Large
That's all he had to do, and we couldn't do it because he was high. So that's a double negative for Zod. This one goes to Large.
The match,
Easy
game,
guys.
set, and match to Large.
Oh,
Wow.
no. I had a feeling Large was going to do pretty good with that Saturday pick.
Yeah.
In the third round.
Well,
Should we judge the third round
let's
as well?
judge the third round in fairness, just in case, looking in hindsight, if we made an inaccurate statement. So let's go with.
I don't know if we need to turn this rape into a murder here.
Yeah, let's go with Pat.
Yeah, right. I mean,
You know what? Maybe
Now
Large
that
is
he's
right.
dead,
Maybe
let's
we
have
leave
sex
those-
with him.
he's trying to chase me, trying to sweep me out the building, man.
Well,
That's
we got to finish the game.
You might be
so.
surprised. You might be surprised.
I mean, you might as well have said Mondays. I mean, I get Thursday. Today is Thursday, so I understand that right now we're feeling Thursday is great because it's only the weekend.
You don't have
but
to
I mean,
lie.
come
It's
on.
Wednesday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Will, do you also pick
look,
Saturday?
I love Thursdays too. I think that I really appreciated the creative juices argument. That's good. I think I do a lot better thinking towards the end of the week when I'm excited about getting a day off soon. But it's all leading up to that day off, and it's the crown jewel of the week, Saturday. I mean, you can't do any
Well,
better.
you're not going to believe this, but it would have gone the same way, 2-1 Large, because I would have
Here we
gone
go.
Za Thursdays. Thursdays by far my favorite day of the week because when I get my work done on Thursday, I turn up the hardest on Thursday night. I don't treat Friday like a day. I treat Friday like it's Saturday, and Saturday is too close to Sunday, which I work every Sunday. So for me, Saturday is not really – Friday is really like Saturday, and Thursday to me is like Friday. And I like Thursday night and the getting the work done, feeling in a good mood. We do Florida Man Fridays on Thursday. Will we
I
talk
could have
about
been
funny
swayed by
Florida
Friday
stories.
potentially.
Yeah,
but
Thursday is my favorite day. But
Mark,
Zai,
these
you
guys
lost all
don't
3
know.
rounds.
Tell them, Mark. These guys don't know.
you lost all 3 rounds. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
Largest winner.
Whipped out the building.
Yeah. Anything?
Wow.
Anything? Final thoughts? from
No
anyone?
better man to lose to.
right.
Yeah, it was a good debate. It was fun.
Champion, do you have anything to
I
say?
can walk out here not worried about looking dumb because this is brain power wise. This is one of the best we have.
Yeah, I will say
very
this.
true.
Pat did the show with us when we did the listener debate 2 days ago, and he was interjecting a lot more with our interns than you guys. I think he wanted to stay a little bit more neutral. I'm noticing on this debate. I'm getting a head shake. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
he
also
knows,
I didn't like that one intern. I hated it. I couldn't shut. This guy was the biggest jerk on the
here
show.
we
But,
go.
you know,
Oh, Cam?
it's okay.
Cam's got he's got
an attitude. He called me a dipshit. I was over Cam.
He
So-
calls us dipshits too.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. He's got this Anthony Jeselnik thing going on, but he's got a new debate proposal for you. He says that he wants to take on Patricia head to head in front of you. So
I would love that, and I'm
with
gonna
just
be
Pat as the judge. That sounds like a sweep as well. It
His
doesn't sound
intern
good
Patricia
either.
was fantastic, by the way. Who they had on, she
he
absolutely bodied these 2 people. I thought she was awesome.
she did.
She did great.
She smashed. Yeah, but
Bubba had a chance.
He says he's got a comeback in his mind.
Bubba had a bit of a large round 2 where he said the best war of all time is the war on drugs, which he lost.
Very
Horribly.
strange.
Worst answer in the history of the debate show.
Wait,
But
his favorite war is the war on drugs?
yeah, he could have picked any war, and he picked the war on drugs. He was doing very well before and after that. But
This is all you need to know about Cam. Is Cam chose the Nika uprising of the ancient Roman Empire. If you want to know anything
well,
about him,
that's
he's like the most
that's like a
pedantic.
twisted history thing.
It's
He
twisted
could've-
history, yeah, coming up.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Large Za, thank you for joining. Will, you got something?
Yeah, well, let's hear from the champ here. What do you got? You got anything to say, Large? I
I
don't
was
know who you're taking on next.
I was shocked
Hmm.
when Patty went with me on the booze versus weed thing. One, for the semantics of we could have went to a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
You know?
Which you
And
would have won
two,
on Saturday. Yeah.
Because I really think that a hangover is the worst part about drinking. That searing behind the eye headache, which I know Patty gets a lot, and that's what hurts his feelings. So I was shocked by it. So I think even though this is going to look like a sweep, I think it's a lot closer than the scorecards have it. Za, it's always a pleasure doing anything with you. Thank you so much for taking it easy on me. And kids, don't do drugs.
Yeah, don't